Oh, good evening to you. Hello, everybody. My name's Janice, and I'm the owner and creator of the Glamour Club. And we were set up to eradicate loneliness and loneliness caused by social isolation. We're especially for those who are 50, but everyone's welcome. We're intergenerational, we're dementia friends, we're eco friendly, and we're an event. So we're a spectacular event. We're not ordinary, we're extraordinary and run entirely by volunteers. Hello, all the volunteers. Thank you so much. So you come at noon, you leave at 3, you get served a high tea by table hosts, and then live entertainment. And everyone sings and dances and we have a jolly good time, and then we go home and we get recover and we get ready for the next one. So during lockdown we haven't been able to do that, but we've been Worthing Mental Health Awareness, their grand finale, their afternoon tea at 3. So that's a little bit about the Glamour Club. And I'm absolutely thrilled tonight to be joined by the wonderful Nikki, who's from Big B Contact. And we've got together because we're celebrating International Women's Day. And their hashtag this year is Choose to Challenge. So we're going to be talking about some hard-hitting subjects, but in a great big fun way. So over to you, Nikki. Can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and how we met, please?
Sure, no problem. So yeah, as Janice said, I am Nikki and I run Big B Content. Big B Content is a digital content agency and we work with SMEs and with non-profits. So we like to produce content that does good and help the companies that we work with to do good. And so I got in touch with Janice recently because I'm working with a mental health charity to deliver some content that around the themes of mental health. And we spoke to Janice about the topic of loneliness, where she very generously shared her own story on loneliness for a piece of upcoming content that is coming soon. And that's how we got in touch. And now we're here today as well to talk about loneliness.
It's really brilliant. The thing is, Nikki, for those people who don't know anything about marketing or digital or social, what sort of thing is content then?
So content, so as an agency, we work on all kinds of content. So content can be what you see on a website. So all of the copy that appears on the website, as you're scrolling through it, it's the way that you travel through the website and understand it. It can be the links that you click on. It can be the videos that you watch. It can be the audio podcast that you listen to, everything that you see on social media. Basically anything that you can create with words or pictures or moving pictures, that's all content.
Wow, thanks very much. I didn't even know all of that. Thanks a lot, Nikki. So you're Big B Content, aren't you? Can you tell me the story of the name, please?
I knew you were going to ask that. Essentially, my name is Nikki Blaine, and I was originally going to call my business a very boring name, Blaine Content Services. And I was, I know. And I was lying in bed one night just thinking, I just can't do it. I can't do that to myself. It's so boring. And then I started thinking about we all have nicknames for each other in the Blaine family. And I started thinking about the different nicknames that were in there. And so my husband's name is it's Ben, but he gets called Big Blaine. And then I just thought that's Big Blaine with a B. And then I thought, oh, right, B is like a really good kind of metaphor for social challenges and things like that. And I thought that would work. So Big B, and it stuck.
That's brilliant. I hope your husband doesn't mind you telling that story.
Doesn't matter. He's all right.
So, I mean, our Glamour Club was especially created to eradicate loneliness and loneliness caused by social isolation. So we are pioneers and we're activists and we're catalysts for positive social change. and we're against things like ageism. So we're intergenerational because um, we want everybody to be able to come together to enjoy themselves, all in one place, and it doesn't matter where you come from and how old you are, what you look like, or anything. So I'm just wondering if you could share with us, Nikki, a period in your lifetime where you've been lonely, and how it made you feel, and what you did to get out of it, sort of a triumph over adversity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fantastic what you're doing with the intergenerational aspect of it. I think it's really important to support people of all ages. And I suppose in this point, I want to highlight when I was probably at my most lonely. When I was very, very young, I spent a lot of my childhood feeling very lonely, actually, and for no real reason. I mean, my parents both worked very hard. They worked. My mum worked evenings, so she slept through the day, and my dad, he worked as a social worker, managing a social work office, and he was very busy. And they were exhausted when they weren't working. And I had two big brothers, and they used to play together, and I didn't. So I would just take myself off, and I was always desperate to make friends because I felt like I just didn't have anybody that really got me and listened to me. And I was like really very, very lonely as a young person up until I was probably in my late teens. I felt like that, and I was kind of always trying to make friends. And sometimes I would get, I'm quite an emotional person, so sometimes I would be very badly affected if things in friendship groups didn't go the way that I wanted them to, and it would kind of hurt me deeply, and it made me feel even more lonely. So it was a big challenge for me when I was young to overcome. And so the way that I overcame that really is just in developing strong friendship groups and finding my people. And your people aren't always the people that you think they are or that you want them to be initially. You know, I went through a lot of relationship challenges. I found myself in a slightly abusive relationship as a result, slightly later in life. And I went through a bit of a curve where, you know, when I was very, very lonely in my late 20s, had just left that relationship, I turned to alcohol, and I had a very dark time indeed. But I came through the end just by realizing who my real people were. And that made a big difference to me. And I think one thing that I learned through doing the interviews recently, including the one with you, Janice, is that actually everyone's experience of loneliness is so extremely different. I spoke to people who experienced it through postnatal depression. I spoke to people who'd experienced it just at different times throughout their lives for no apparent reason. People such as yourself who experienced it through moving to a different place and just not really feeling like it was right for you. Everybody deals with it differently. But I think that we can all come together and realize that everyone experiences loneliness at some point, and that in itself is a uniting factor.
Oh, thanks, Nikki. That is so brave of you to share that. Thank you. That's made me a little bit tearful. You must have felt the same when I was telling my story. So we all have these wonderful stories, don't we? One thing I think that we've learned as people through lockdown is that in spite of not liking or being very likable sometimes, we all need each other, don't we? It's really important to find your tribe. I mean, I've had so many, and I've tried to fit into ones that I was never going to fit into that. And instead of being so despairing, actually now, if I don't fit into something, I'm actually quite glad, because I think, well, you know, there's another adventure waiting for me just around the corner, because you know that's not really for me. So yeah, so this year is the oh, what's it again? It's choose to
Choose to
challenge,
challenge.
Nikki. So, I mean, is there anything in particular you're doing with Big B content that is choosing to challenge the status quo, particularly around women? Or, I don't know your personal circumstances, but you did say you were married. I mean, is it, and you have children, do you? So, is there is there any particular challenge in there that you want to share with us all?
I mean, having kids is a challenge. I did not sleep at all last night, so I'm choosing to challenge regularly by not sleeping. But that is quite an important point, I suppose, for International Women's Day, is that and there are women have a lot of challenges, men have those challenges too, but often, I mean, I chose to challenge myself at the start of lockdown by launching Big B, because Big B launched last March, right at the start of lockdown. I'd come out of my maternity leave with my second daughter, and I knew that I wasn't going back to that job because the lifestyle couldn't possibly have fitted in once I had two children. I was filming at all hours of the day and traveling a lot, and it just wasn't going to be feasible. So at the start of lockdown, I set up Big B, and the whole process has been a massive challenge because for the first 4 months, I was doing that juggling a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and it was not an easy time. And it just does highlight for me, actually, and I've met so many people throughout the process, so many amazing women in particular, who are just forging ahead, challenging themselves, challenging the perception that, they have to just be a stay-at-home mom, that they can't have the businesses that they have, that they can't do what they want to do, and they have to be a certain way. Times have changed. There's everyone knows that things are moving on, but I think throughout lockdown, women have had specific challenges. We know that they've taken on a larger percentage of the burden of childcare, for example, throughout it, which then has a knock-on effect. It means that their businesses can suffer and things like that. So with Big B content, I'm at a personal level challenging myself and challenging the kind of overall status quo that you can't have small children and run a business at the same time. But also, I think what I want to do with Big B content is challenge the perception that you, in doing content, you have to be a pushy person, that you have to deliver things in a certain way in order to amplify your value. I see Big B content as a compassionate content company. So we work in ways that ensure that they're not underhand, that we're actually choosing to amplify the value and support the user, and support people to do good at the end of the day.
That is like music to my ears. There's, I'm just thinking about those big corporate giants. When you phone, I mean, my mum actually thinks that she's done something wrong because of the way that they speak. So it's really refreshing to hear, Nikki, that you're doing that, because that's just what we need. We want that personal touch. So I'm really happy that you're doing that, and I was really happy to do that interview with you the other week as well, because of that. So I think, Nikki, we've gone over, but I just wanted to ask you quickly, why is it that you like the Glamour Club in particular?
What I think is so great about the Glamour Club is it's all in the name, really. It's all about the glamour and the fun and the style and just throwing caution to the wind and just having a laugh. I think that's super. And you personify that, and just look at everything that you are. It's fantastic. It's just really inclusive and a really great thing to be available, that people know that they can then just drop in and that you're there to support anyone, really. And I think that's fantastic and well done.
Oh, thanks, Nikki. So I suppose I could speak to you for ages,
You have an apple for a long time.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. but I suppose we need to go really, and if we could just end then by doing the choose to challenge. This is their symbol for this year. So we choose to challenge, don't we, Nikki?
We do. We're challengers.
All right, Nikki, thank you so much. It's been absolutely wonderful speaking to you. I'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.